News Now. Good to know.
Welcome to this edition of Now You Know. I'm Meg Oliver in New York. From LeBron James' decision in World Cup vuvuzelas to Lindsay Lohan and her Scram device, there have been a lot of interesting headlines lately. Joining us with some of the stories that have piqued the most interest this summer is Yahoo Web Life editor Heather Cabot. Great to see you again, Heather.
Thanks, Meg.
All right, let's start with the LeBron James spectacle and the big decision that he's going to Miami and he's leaving Cleveland. What did this do to searches?
Well, I love looking at search behavior because it really is a window into what people truly are interested in. And honestly, it doesn't matter who the celebrity is. And in LeBron James's case, this is so true. People care most about where he lives and his shoes. That's what people are searching for. I mean, yes, there obviously people were searching about, we saw queries like how to bring LeBron to Miami. We saw searches for his, friends from high school, searches for, the other teammates that were potentially going to Miami that we later found out also went to Miami. So, I think that every facet of the story drew interest, but, when it comes to search, we really see what folks truly want to know, and they want to know the details about his homes and his shoes.
All right, well, there's going to be a lot more there with all the new homes, I'm sure, popping up in Miami.
Right.
Okay, now, of course, the World Cup just ended. Has World Cup searches been pretty big for most of the summer?
Really big. But again, even that first week when the tournament started, the big search term was vuvuzela. Everyone wanted to know, first of all, they wanted to know what the buzzing sound was.
Right.
That was the first thing that we saw. Then when we learned the term vuvuzela, people wanted to know more about those and the history and why they were allowed to be at the event in the first place. And then we started seeing searches for how do I turn off that sound? How do I get rid of it? How do I, set up my TV so I can't hear it anymore? And then, so interesting, we started to feel a little bit more affectionate towards them, and people wanted to know where to buy them.
Oh, that's so funny. So people actually came around in the end.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
It is surprising because it's just like a bunch of bees humming in my ear. It drives me crazy.
It's so annoying, but
Very
I guess
annoying.
People came to love them in the end.
All right, now let's talk about Sandra Bullock. She's been in the headlines a lot ever since we learned about Jesse James's affairs, her ex-husband, and she's still a pretty big story for the summer because she came out with that big surprise that she adopted a baby boy.
And the adoption, I think, really what was striking about that is that nobody broke that story. I mean, she truly controlled that story. She decided when she was going to release the information about it. She went public with it in a really big way. And I think so many people felt like, good for her. It was just one of those stories that she's had such a tough time. And I think for so many people, myself included, after she won the Oscar and she had, she made that big, statement about her husband in her acceptance speech and how supportive he had been. And then, literally, I think it was even in the same week, the revelations about his affairs came to light. I think there was probably nobody out there that did not feel for her. It was, embarrassing and upsetting, and it just, I think now seeing her with the new baby, and it's great to see that she's able to control the story and really come out on top despite all of the bad publicity.
Yeah, it was amazing that she got away with it. I mean, she even said that. Were people searching for news on Jesse, or were they more interested in her and the baby?
I think, again, this is sort of a commentary on what people are interested in. I think people were more interested search-wise in the details of his infidelities. They wanted to know about the mistresses. They wanted to know sort of the salacious details. And I think, that just points to the fact that search is something that we often do on our own. I mean, you don't necessarily sit around a computer and type these things in, right? I mean, you may talk about them later, but oftentimes it comes, you may read a story and then you want to know a little bit more about something in that story, so you type it in, and you're usually by yourself. So sometimes I think that people maybe are a little bit less guarded about what they truly are interested in. So yes, in that case, we definitely saw more searches for the details, the dirty details.
Another celeb making the news, but with a lot less sympathy, of course, is Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, yes.
Is this all because of her recent sentencing, or is she someone that just has always piqued a lot of interest?
Well, over the last few years, and every year we do kind of a look back at the top searches of the year. She has definitely, over the last 3 years, been at the top of our celebrity list. I just think it's because because, you know, she was someone that I think everyone thought was kind of she's very talented, and I think people thought that she was going to do very well, and she just has had a really hard time getting it together. I think last week in particular with the breakdown in court, and then we found out about the, you know, the 90-day sentence, people are buzzing about that whole incident, what she was writing down in court, you know, handwriting analysis, and also, I don't know if you heard about sort of the profane expression on one of her nails, you know, all these kinds of little details people want to know about. And, you know, she kind of has the Paris Hilton factor going on. Let's hope when she comes out of jail that she'll be able to overcome some of this stuff and get back on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, it is.
Her story has also sparked some interest in alcohol monitoring, right? Yeah,
I mean, people, you know, everyone wants to know all of the inside baseball with any of these, especially big celebrity stories. So, you know, it's not unusual that we're seeing those kinds of searches. I think that maybe on the other hand, though, it's kind of nice to know that people perhaps learn lessons from this for their own lives and you know, want to know more about, you know, whether it's alcohol monitoring or alcoholism or treatment or rehab, things like that, that maybe there is some good that comes out of this in that people are educating themselves.
Okay, and then finally, you know, BP has been in the news all summer. What are people interested in the most here?
Well, I'll tell you, there really was this watershed moment, which you'll probably remember, and I believe it was back in June when we all were finally able to get a real live look at the spill itself. And so, you know, if you remember that the site showing the video of the oil spewing out crashed. So I think that people continue to be really riveted by this. They're angry, and it will continue to dominate, I think, searches throughout the summer.
Yeah, all right. Heather Cabot, thanks so much for stopping by and filling us in.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have for this edition of Now You Know. I'm Meg Oliver in New York. Thanks so much for watching.
ABC News Now. Good to know.